For bloom and great flowers, it's got to be Mr. Roses. Mr. Roses is your go-to florist for stunning flowers and roses, plus a great variety of beautifully presented gifts, from classic happy anniversary roses to the special and always reliable birthday flowers. Mr. Roses has the perfect selection for every important occasion. And with Mr. Roses' swift same-day delivery service, you can gift your loved one with a surprise right on time. For bloom and great flowers, visit mrroses.com.au.
Chris Vagg is someone I've known for a while now. I hope I can call him a friend. He runs Pass It On Clothing, where they're on the streets a couple of nights a week helping people who are homeless with clothes, and it's something that's been building up over a number of years. He was on the streets last night. It was very, very cold. Now, the way things work in New South Wales, they have media monitoring. So if you mention a minister or someone, they'll get a piece of paper saying, well, this is what was said about you, even if they're not listening. So I'll mention the Housing Minister, Rose Jackson, who we're about to mention, because we're kind of sending her a message shortly. Because not only does Chris go on the streets, he's got a phenomenal idea, which is an academy. And he's got pretty well all the building blocks in place. He's got employers and people who'll come in and provide assistance. And his idea is that there are people who've got themselves into public housing, but they're barely off the streets. But they're people that want to do more, but they just need a bit of a push. And so he's going to set up this academy. He just needs a building, and people will do a 10-week course. The employers who are associated with this will provide training for these people, and then after the 10 weeks they can then start a job, and they can then move into employment. And they're not just off the streets, they're actually working, earning a living, paying tax, and as Chris has told me many times, this is what they want, but there isn't a pathway for them. So this is a very, very logical program. It wouldn't cost much. And the reason I mention it is that I'm looking here, in the budget, they've put aside more than $500 million for frontline homelessness services, and includes a homelessness innovation fund to provide funding to support the sector to deliver innovative responses to the current crisis. Well, this is exactly what Chris is talking about. It would take a very, very small proportion of that money to at least run a trial of what he's talking about. They give him a building and off he goes. He's on the line with me now. Chris, good afternoon, mate.
John, how are you?
I've tried to explain it there. What's the process there? Because they've got this fund, Innovative Responses. That's exactly what you're proposing. I'll just mention the name again, Rose Jackson, Homelessness Minister. She'll get a copy of this conversation. Do you have to apply? What happens here?
Well, we're not sure yet. We presume that pool of money will be filtered out into grants, etc., for ideas like our own. I suppose the first thing I'd like to do is congratulate the government on actually just acknowledging the problem, because I think, too many times in the past, I think people just stuck their head in the sand about it. And I think Rose has done really well in acknowledging it and getting this funding, delivered to be used. I just think, in the end, mate, we have people in public housing who just want structure, who want routine, and unfortunately, due to their circumstance of life and, their environment growing up, maybe it was intergenerational or whatever, they just haven't had a pathway or even a peer or, a mentor, someone that they can see to follow, to get themselves up and going. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, these people they rely on, what's around them, and what's around them isn't great. We need to take them out of their environment, put new skills, new routines into them, and almost, recondition them as human beings, and bang, off they go into private housing, private employment. And I think the thing is also, you've created a hero in that space. There's that old saying, you can't be what you can't see, right? And now, if everyone around you is in housing, or is, disadvantaged, I mean, what hope have you got really to step out of that? We just don't believe that the postcode you're born in or the situation you're born in should, practically deliver your outcome for life. We just don't think that's fair at all.
Yeah, you are a force of life, so I'm glad you gave me a pause there, because I love hearing you talk, and you are such an expert on this. But have I summed it up correctly? You get a building, you get these people into accommodation for 10 weeks. You're talking about, I think, starting off with 10. You have got employers that are willing to come in and give them those skills and that assistance. Is that right? Almost.
So it's 100 days. Yes, a building. I suppose if people are going to think about it, think about Big Brother with purpose. Right? Like, you're not going in there just to muck around and do whatever. You're going in there, you'll do fitness every morning together. You'll have breakfast together. Then you go off and work in the day. You actually work. You're getting paid money. You come back in the afternoon. You're going to learn how to cook, how to budget.
So where do you work? The employers are providing somewhere where you can go. Is that right?
Correct. The employers, think about laundry hotels. They're going in there to work to start. Right at the ground level. You actually start, and afterwards you're going into private employment, into private housing. You have a mentor, and all of a sudden you've opened up 10 places in public housing, because there's 10 per intake to start with, without building anything, right? And you've got 10 places in public housing to address the 57,000 plus that are waiting for public housing in New South Wales.
So I look at this, and there's hundreds of millions of dollars here. You're simply asking for a lick of money that'll get you a building. You can fit it out so people can live in that building, and then kitchens where people can be taught cooking and some of the skills that they might need to go into hospitality. They're there for 100 days, and then all of that happens. Not a huge amount of money. It wouldn't be huge in the overall context, and then they can assess it and see whether it works.
Correct.
Not hard.
We're talking for $5 million the first year, $4 million the second, and then $3 million ongoing, operation-wise. And they should be able to do a joint venture with the feds, because obviously the feds are going to get tax money there.
Yep.
And the difference in actual outcomes for over a 50-year period of actually paying someone to live in public housing and paying them benefits, as opposed to generating tax, is in the millions of dollars per person.
Yeah, you've done all these numbers, haven't you? I've
done all the numbers. Right. It doesn't make sense that you wouldn't do it. And again, the time it takes to build a property, to buy the land, to build a social housing property, right, as opposed to actually 100 days getting someone out, creating a taxpayer, it's a win-win.
Okay. Now, just two things to finish up, and we'll keep on this, and I'm hoping the conversation that gets to the Minister's office. Pass it on clothing. You're on the streets last night, very cold. You sent me a picture of a very long queue.
Yeah, mate, we did over 700 pieces of clothing in 30 minutes last night. It's just... and that's the norm now. And we're at Parramatta tonight. We're at Darlinghurst on Thursday. Yeah. Kudos to the Minister. We did see her in March, and we're just, plodding along now, getting our ducks in a row. But, it'd be great to actually have that opportunity, because in the end, we understand the responsibility, and that's the responsibility to those first 10 lives that we want to change. So
you're talking about, someone's asking where would it be? You're talking in terms of a place, a building that's unused at the moment, and there's plenty of those close to the city. And then you've got Laundry Hotel Group involved, you've spoken to them, so you would have employers willing to give them jobs and give them jobs at the end of the process.
100. We have people crying out for staff at the moment. Right?
Jane's asking how do they get employment. Well, they're being trained to do the things that the employers are crying out for.
Correct. No, it's talent ID. That's our job, is to pick the first 10.
Yeah.
Right? And I understand that responsibility. And, we're very big on the responsibility we have in that, we can change a life. Yeah. We understand that.
Yeah. Look, we spent a night, you do a thing where people immerse themselves in homelessness, and it was pretty tough. But you were pointing out, as we were going around, you were very carefully and doing it in a very, very maintaining people's privacy, but you were pointing out very subtly, that person. And you could see there were people who you thought would be perfect for this, that were keen to get themselves out of that situation. So, look, let's keep in touch, and let's hope this progresses it a little bit further. Chris, well done, mate.
Thanks, John.
Do one more thing for me, can you? Can you just quickly tell me what your advice is to everyone when they walk past someone who's, homeless on the streets, how important it is just to say hello? Okay,
I'll give your listeners a 7-day test. You have to stop and acknowledge them and say, hey, for my instance, my name is Chris. You don't have to give them money or anything. Just give them your attention and your time for 30 seconds, and you'll change someone's day. That's the thing. You'll change someone's day because they will feel human again instead of being walked past and ignored. Yep. All right. Okay. Very good, mate. And it doesn't cost us anything to do that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, John. Cheers. Chris Vagg, Pass It On Clothing. Look, there's people suggesting to me, places like, Callan Park's got all those buildings there. There's so many government buildings that you could use. It's not hard. Not hard. So we'll be keeping on that one in our nighttime program with Chris, and hopefully we'll have some good news on that one. For bloom and great flowers, it's got to be Mr. Roses. Mr. Roses is your go-to florist for stunning flowers and roses, plus a great variety of beautifully presented gifts, from classic happy anniversary roses to the special and always reliable birthday flowers. Mr. Roses has the perfect selection for every important occasion. And with Mr. Rose's swift same-day delivery service, you can gift your loved one with a surprise right on time. For bloom and great flowers, visit mrroses.com.au. Legal problems can be overwhelming, but you don't have to face them alone.
Just one call and the expert at Bryden's Lawyers will be by your side. Bryden's Lawyers, they do support you in your time of need. Terms and conditions may apply. The number to call, 1800 848 848.